What's up, guys? So, we are going to be building something special today. Let me just give you a quick peek at what we'll be building using the Lix voice library. Check this out. Now, I don't know about you, but have you ever had this issue where, you have to fill out a form and it's the same fields that you always fill out? Don't you think forms need to be disrupted as well? Well, let me introduce you to Reform. Instead of typing out your name, with Reform, you just Christopher. Derrell. The Facebook offices in the middle of New Jersey. Imagine if there was a way to submit a form like this. Well, now you can do it. That's what we'll be building today using the Lix Voice plugin. Let's get started. First, you're going to want to install Lix Voice. Now, if you're not aware, Lix Voice is just one of the many Lix components that we offer, which are a library of free components that you can install on your Wix website to improve its power. And so you just need to use the link that's in the description and you can install it directly onto your site. This will invite you to install it. Of course, I already have it installed for this demo, but this will allow you to choose the site you want to install it on, whether Classic Editor, Editor X, or Wix Studio. All of them will work. Now, once you have that set up, you're going to have your screen show up that allows you to do the editing. So we're going to jump over to that screen now. Okay, so I've jumped into the editor and we're going to do a very basic layout and usage of Lix Voice. So the first thing I'm going to do is just add 2 columns to the page. Now you want to make sure that Lix Voice is installed, and the way you'll know is that you should have the Lix Voice core plugin in your add menu. So you should be able to go to add elements. It's very similar on Classic Editor, app widgets, and in our case we have Lix Voice. We can choose Voice Core and add it to the page. And we are halfway there. The beauty of Lix Voice is that it uses your browser's native transcription, which means it should work on any device once the browser supports speech recognition. So we are going to get started and just see how this works. To do that, we're going to add a simple text element just to make sure that we are up and running. And we'll just say text should go here. And we're going to have to do a little bit of coding just to make sure it works. So let's make note of that ID, text4, and then the ID of our voice element, voice core 1, and we're going to hop over to the code panel. Now, if you're not familiar with code, that's fine. This walkthrough will give you a brief introduction to Velo, which is Wix's coding language, and then we'll be able to test it out on our own from here. So what we're going to do is, the first thing is to get the voice core, and we're going to do listening. We're going to listen to the response that comes back from voice core 1. So that would be voicecore1.onResponse, which is the function. And that function takes a callback, which is just a function that's run inside once it's finished. And then we should be able to console.log the event. Now, that's not all we want to do. We actually want to get the data from it, right? That's why we're doing this. And so for text4, we're going to do $W. We're going to select text4. Then we're going to say .text, which is how you change the text, equals e.data.message. And we should be good to go. That's all we need for the basic setup. So we're going to publish now. Make sure you know the URL of your site. That's very important. And we're going to look at what this looks like on the live site. Okay, cool. So we have our voice element and we have our text. So what should happen is as soon as I click this, it should start listening to my voice. In many cases, you'll have to accept the permissions. Because I've done that for this site already, it's just going to accept immediately. So you just click. My name is Christopher, and this demo will work. Excellent. So what's happened is it's finished listening and it's posted the text into your text element in Wix. So you can use your own design to make this work. Great. That's just step 1. So now what we're going to do is we're going to actually build out that form that we saw earlier. To do that, we need a form. So let's get rid of our friend the text over here. And let's add a simple Wix form. So we want to go down to contact and forms. We'll use one of these existing forms, maybe the donation form. And then we'll just make sure that it has some text elements that are, easy to access. So we're going to be able to edit each of these inputs using voice. But for this demo, we're just going to remove the email field because typing your email with your voice is still not the best way to do it. All right, so we have these 3 fields here. Each of them is an input field. Now, unlike what we did earlier, because the 3 of them are the same type of field, Wix allows us to do this special way of accessing each of the elements using the $W and using the type of element instead of its ID. So we can put text input. Great. Now we want it to run every time somebody clicks. So we set an on-click listener, which basically handles anytime a click is happening. This is what I'm supposed to do. Pretty simple to understand in terms of what it's called. And what we want to do is know which element was clicked on. So to do that, we're going to create a variable that's called active ID, which will just store the ID of that element. And we will assign it right here. So we'll say active ID is equal to E, which is the event, dot target, which is the element itself, dot ID. That way we'll know which of the IDs was actually assigned. All right, what's there we're seeing here? Cannot redeclare. I don't know where it's been declared before. Let's see what it says. Active input ID. Not sure why it's giving that error, but we'll continue and see. So cool, that's the first part. Now we know which of the fields is selected. We need to get the text into it. And so we'll come down to our previous section where we had text 4. And instead of doing this, we're going to comment that out. And we're going to put the text into that element. So we're going to $W. We're going to have to add the hashtag back, put a plus sign so we can use the variable active ID. And we're going to say dot value, because we want to fill the field of the input text, equals e.data.message. Some of you probably ran ahead and finished this already. And so we should be good to go with just these lines of text. So of course, we're going to publish and test again. Now, why do we need to publish and test? Why do you actually have to put this on a live site? Well, for security reasons, and as I might have mentioned in another video, in order for a custom element to work on your site, which gives you access to the DOM, Wix has to run it in a secure environment. So this would basically be running in what's called an iframe, or you can think of it as like a pen, a playpen, where you keep things that are safely running inside of that pen, but you don't give them access to the things on the outside because it could mess up the editor or, according to Wix, even mess with some of their systems. So the only time you get that full feature access is in the live site. And that's why we publish and that's why we test there. So publish again, just to make sure. And then we'll share this tab and we will test out our Lix Voice demo. Cool. So, are you ready? Now, one of the things we need to make sure is that whenever you click on the element, it starts listening. So if I click into this, nothing happens as yet. But if I do Christopher, then it will actually fill out that field. Brown, it'll fill out a field, and we can do in the name of someone who really deserves it. Cool. And then we could submit. But even for me, like that's still another step that's necessary. So how about we make it work as soon as you click on it? I think I prefer that too. To do that, we just have to add one line of code. So to do this, we're going to go back to where the click handler was set up. We're going to add a line that says voice core start listening, which is a function that will handle the listening part and actually trigger on its own. And we should be good to go from there. All right, so we're going to publish one more time. Hop over to that live tab and we will refresh. I hope you're enjoying this. If you're enjoying this, please like the video, share it with somebody else who's a developer, and also leave a comment, especially if you have any questions or suggestions on what we should build next. All right, cool. Now for our reform application. Are you ready? We're going to click Christopher Brown, someone who really deserves it and needs it for help right now. Like, it's so much faster. And so at this point, we're pretty much done. But, just to make it a little clearer to the person who's using it, we can also edit the text that's in the button in the Lix Voice plugin. How do we do that? Well, Lix Voice also comes with a property that you can set called active. Let's just get the name, active button text. And so whenever I click on one of those, I think I want to actually get what I've clicked on in the voice recorder. That way I know what I'm actually doing. So let's do e.target.label, which will tell me what the label of that field is from the click. And then I'll say filling out, leave a little space and put a plus sign so that it knows to put the two together. Last time, and we're good. So let's jump back over here and we'll refresh. Nice and quick. Christopher Brown, someone who really needs it. And we can hit submit. And so the beauty is that this is just using your voice. Now imagine all the different applications that you could do. And that's the thing. We don't need to stop here. You could create a website that is able to take orders by voice, that checks the text that somebody speaks back to the screen just to make sure that they're human. You could use it for a whole host of things, including live chat. So instead of actually typing the words, the person could speak and have it transcribed immediately. And you could create your own Otter AI. I mean, the possibilities are really limited by your imagination, not the tool. And so this is something that we're encouraging you to start building with. You can use Lix Voice right now. The link is in the description below. And so you'll be good to go if you start using it. And we hope to see you again as we continue to build out this library of components for you to enhance your Wix website. I've been Chris, and I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.